Welcome back to Streamline Investigations. The search ends for Mr. Gus Lamont. I know there was a problem. It was very hot with heat and many other problems, but the search comes to an end. Obviously, I think the police will carry on investigations, but it's bizarre that they have found nothing. This is by 7 News.
Dozens of Defence Force personnel have packed up and left as police pull the pin on their latest outback search for South Australian boy Gus Lamont. As Lauren Rose reports, it's been almost 3 weeks since the little boy vanished from his home, seemingly without a trace.
It's the end of the road for authorities here today. They've thrown everything at this latest search, but there's still no sign of 4-year-old Gus Lamont. As Army personnel departed, another wave of bitter disappointment set in.
We haven't got the outcome that we're looking for so far, and that's really disappointing. First and foremost, our thoughts are with Gus and his family. We would love to have resolution to this matter, but not any more than the family with themselves.
Over the last 4 days, 80 soldiers have scoured 95 square kilometres of the outback sheep station by foot.
95 square kilometres. It's just, and have found nothing. And these soldiers, police, search experts have done everything.
They've each been walking up to 25 kilometres a day, covering a 5.5 kilometre radius from his family's homestead. No one knows if the curly-haired boy wandered off to the north, south, east or west, and to a child his height it all would have looked the same. Tomorrow marks a sombre milestone, 3 weeks since anyone saw him. His grandma left him playing in sand out the front of their house, and within half an hour he was gone. It's unlikely he would have survived out here more than a few days. This search may be over, but the investigation is not. We'll tell you where to from here in our main bulletin at 6.
The thing is as well, how is he going to get out of those gates as well if they're locked? It can only be someone, the family or someone close to the family that know what happened to Gus. It's bizarre because there are no leads. And, how can a child just disappear into thin air and there's no tracks or nothing? That is bizarre. It really, really is bizarre. Just going to go over a recap of this case, people, because I just can't work out what's happened to this boy. As of October the 17th, 2025, Gus Lamont is a 4-year-old Australian boy who has been missing since September the 27th, 2025. It'll be 3 weeks tomorrow, people, and that's gone so quickly. He disappeared from his family's remote sheep station near Yunta, South Australia, despite extensive searches. Authorities have found no trace of him, and police have now scaled back the search. Disappearance and search efforts vanished from the homestead. Gus was last seen by his grandmother playing in a dirt pile outside the family's homestead at Oak Park Station, that's where they live, at approximately 5 p.m. On Sunday, on September the 27th, when she went to call him inside about the September the 27th, people, on the Saturday, when she went out to him inside about 30 minutes later, he was gone. Bizarre. The thing is that what I want to question here is that who else saw that child that day apart from the family? I think it's quite crucial because I know there was a big football match on that day. Had they been drinking? But like I said, it's said that obviously Josie was looking after the 1-year-old Ronnie, and then sort of peeking now and again to see whether Gus was all right playing outside. I just don't get it. Something just doesn't seem right with that. It really, really doesn't. I mean, 30 minutes to leave a 4-year-old is a long time. Police notified the family search for several hours before reporting his disappearance to the police at 5:30 p.m. So technically, they hadn't saw Gus for 3.5 hours. I mean, you could, you know, I'm not being funny, but like I said, you could move a body or someone kind of quickly in that time as well. I know it's horrible to say, but we got to think of everything now. Large-scale searches, a massive air and land search operation was launched involving South Australian Police, the Australian Defence Force and volunteers. That search covered a massive area of the harsh outback and terrain. The search scaled back after an exhaustive search found no signs of the body. Police have concluded the active search operation, stating that is now a recovery operation. Investigations and speculations. No foul play suspected. Police believe Gus likely wandered off and do not suspect foul play, though they have formed a task force to continue investigating the case. Harsh conditions, the rugged terrain and extreme weather conditions have made survival unlikely, and searchers found no clothing or other tangible evidence. Public scrutiny. The family had faced intense online speculation and scrutiny regarding their unconventional living arrangements and the circumstances of Gus's disappearance. False information. The case has been targeted by misinformation, including fake AI-generated images of Gus, prompting police to ask the public to only source information which is a credible source. The case of Gus Lamont remains an active missing person investigation, although the large-scale search has ended with a tragic and heartbreaking lack of closure for the family. Somebody knows something. You know, I have to start thinking that he just didn't wander off because he would have been found. If he'd been taken by some kind of animal, there would have been a struggle, there would have been blood. We've not found that. So I'm thinking if he wandered off, he would have been found. But the best trackers on the case, and they turned around and said in the early part of the case that he wasn't out there. So where the hell he is? I think when you look at cases like this, you've got to look at the family. You've got to look at the family where they know more. And Josie was technically the last person to see him. And obviously her daughter and workers were 10 km, basically cetering to the sheep, and it's absolutely bizarre. I think that we've got to look at phone records to see when obviously Josie called her daughter to say that they can't find Gus. I think we've got to look at everything. Messages. Who was in the area at that time? Was there friends? Did someone come over to see the football or spend time with the family? Was there weird people in the town, or an odd person in the village? Any sort of cars that actually stand out, which are not normally in the area? These things have to be checked. You know, are the police looking in the right places? Because like I said, Josie's going to know that farm down to a T. And if they're hiding something or someone, would they really hide it on the farm? I'm not so sure. And I think one of the biggest points I want to make is basically, you know, was that the time scale actually Gus went missing, or was it the day before? It's bizarre. That would be very, very interesting to find out. But like I said, it seems like to me we're possibly not going to get much more from the family apart from this is our story and we're sticking to it. It really is bizarre. But like I said, we've got to keep fighting. We've got to keep looking for answers in this case. This 4-year-old beautiful boy, and he hasn't been found. It's really bizarre. It's really bizarre, and I'm sorry, we've got to look closer to him. That's what I would say. Any more news, I'll put it out there, and there'll be updates through the day. Thank you very much indeed, people. And thank you for subscribing to Streamline Investigations. Appreciate you all.